We're live.
Oh my goodness. It's way better than being dead. Way better. Hey everybody. We are so excited. We are going to be joined.
Are your earbuds attached? If they are, then they can't hear me.
Turn this off.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi Nicole. Dr. Avena. I want to introduce you to Tana.
So nice to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Likewise. So nice to meet you as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for...
We are working on 30 days to a better brain.
We sure are.
And how's it going for you?
It's going great for me. I'm actually doing the 30 days to a better brain with my two daughters. And so,
Oh, fun.
yeah, we've been having a lot of fun trying out these different things, and it's just been really fun. So far, so good. I'm thinking about making it 60 days to a better brain.
Well, maybe the
About a lifetime, right?
The rest of their lives would be awesome. And remind me, they're how old?
Oh, I have two girls, a 13-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes.
Wow.
That's great.
Our youngest is 12.
Oh, so you
know. And then they go up from there.
To 18. Yep.
17, 18, all the way to 44. Don't say anything.
The ones in the house are up to 18. Yeah, no, I hate it. It just like, it makes me cry.
We have almost 500 people on. That's great.
That's amazing.
People from Honduras, and I saw someone from Africa. Aloha from Hawaii, my favorite place. So have your girls found anything surprising about the 30-day brain boost?
Well, you know, one thing that I think my older daughter was surprised by was the fact that she wasn't drinking as much water as she should have been. When we calculated how much she should be drinking, she's the same size as me, so she should be drinking as much as an adult. And it's really amazing, you know, unless you're actually measuring it,
right?
Aren't getting enough hydration. It really impacts the way you feel.
Well, and congratulations to you. You have a new book that is going to be published. I'm very excited for you, and I think I'm going to write the foreword for it.
Thank you.
And most people think that happiness is sugar, right? I mean, we celebrate with sugar, we relieve sorrow with sugar, we end meals with sugar, but you're sort of not a fan of that way of life.
No, not at all. I've been doing a lot of research over the years showing that sugar is actually addictive, and it's affecting our brain in a way that is not making us happy. If anything, it's making us depressed and sad, and it's doing so many bad things to our health, especially our brain health.
Yeah, for sure.
So I say it helps you feel better now, but not later.
No.
And our goal with the 30-day Better Brain Challenge is, what are the things you can do to feel better now and later? Didn't you say you used to have sort of a frosting addiction?
It's crack for me. Frosting is crack. It's like, you know, you have to stay away from it because you'll find me in the corner licking wax paper. Like it's so addictive. And I just know that. I mean, I grew up eating a terrible, terrible processed fast food sugar diet. And so, you know, it's not impossible to break that. We've written books about it as well.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell people, give me 2 weeks, it'll change your life. It's just those first 3 days are miserable. And then it's not even miserable. It's just you have to have a strategy. If you have a right strategy, then you can do it. You feel a little bit off for the first 3 days, and then it gets much better.
Yeah. And I think it helps if you know the reason you feel off is because your brain is trying to heal itself from all the
like an addict.
Right. And so it's like a good thing to feel a little bit of discomfort and that lethargy and maybe a headache, because that shows that it's working, that your brain is starting to heal and get back on track.
And you're detoxing. You know, it's like what do addicts go through? It's like sort of DTs.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
We have people from all over the world, New Zealand and Mexico and Alaska. I'm just so excited. And 2022 is gonna be better, but you have to choose to make it better, right? I think Omicron has infected so many people. Community actually doesn't know I got infected about 2 weeks ago.
I did not.
And
So,
she didn't.
everyone in the house pretty much was affected.
And-
I have no idea how.
And if we would have predicted who would have gotten it and who would have, it would have been her.
But because of that, I was doing everything. So.
But, you know, I think so many people now have gotten it that our immune systems, if you do the right thing for it, sugar is not the right thing for your immune system. And that I just think, you know, after we get through March, we're going to start opening up more, but we're going to have to repair a whole bunch of pandemic damaged brains.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure I would phrase it that way because you're going to freak people out. But clearly, the people who have long COVID know that they've been affected. But there's things you can do. I mean, you got to give them a message of hope. There's things you can do. But eating sugar is not one of them. So.
Well, that during the pandemic, so it's not just long COVID. We'll spend time talking about that because what we see is your emotional brain activates. It like lights up and puts you at more risk for anxiety and depression. And what's the quick fix for depression? What increases serotonin quickly in the brain? It's sugar.
Yep.
But so make you happy for about 20 minutes, and then it's going to make you inflamed and sad and mad and have memory problems.
My question to both of you, because you guys have studied this is my dog going crazy, sorry. Doesn't it cause rapid brain cell firing and aggression and things like this with a lot of people?
For vulnerable people.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And one thing that it does definitely do is it causes your dopamine system to be overactivated. So when you eat something that contains added sugar, it sets your dopamine system into overdrive, very similar to what happens when people use drugs.
Right.
And then over time, it wears it out.
Exactly.
So there's actually an imaging study with people who are overweight or obese, and their nucleus accumbens, that's the part of your basal ganglia that responds to dopamine, it's flatter, it's more deadened.
Yeah.
As far when, it responds to pleasurable things, not as much, which means they're not eating to feel high, they're eating to feel normal.
Yeah.
Well, one of the studies
just like an addict.
One study that I found fascinating, you'll remember who published it, I can't remember who published it, but was when they gave mice cocaine and then they gave mice sugar. Yeah. And then they put the sugar and the cocaine out and they went for the sugar every time. Yep. And I'm like, oh, that's very telling. Yeah. That's me with frosting. So.
We're not going to put the frosting in.
Don't put it out, no.
Tell us some about your research on sugar addiction.
So we actually, my lab when I was a graduate student at Princeton, our lab was the first to empirically study whether or not sugar could be addictive. And so we were doing those seminal studies in laboratory rats looking at the effect that sugar can have on the brain. And so we were able to show that it releases dopamine just like a drug of abuse. Mm-hmm. We were able to show that the rats would go into withdrawal if we took the sugar away. Mm-hmm. One of the memories I have from graduate school is one of the undergraduates that was working in the lab at the time yelling to me, ouch, he bit me. And I was thinking, wow, that's a strange thing to hear somebody screaming from a lab. And it was because the rats were actually so irritable and mad at us to take the sugar away that they would kind of nip at us through the cage. And so to me, and these are docile animals, like pets almost. Right. And so they really changed and, their brains changed. And we've since done clinical studies that support this as well. And there's a lot of researchers out there studying this. And the evidence is just undeniable about how bad it is for our brain and how we really need to work to change it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's simple decisions, it's eat this, not that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Swapping. It's just you can replace, don't erase, and you just have to have a strategy.
Yeah, Tana said it, you just said it perfectly. It's replacing, not erasing. I think so many people think they have to quit sugar cold turkey and give up everything that they love. That's not the case. You really just need to systematically go through your diet, figure out where the sugar's living and kick it out and replace it with something that's healthy. Right. And it takes time and you need to have some resources and tools in your toolkit to do that, but you can definitely do it. It's very, very possible.
Right. So like even like simple carbs, like last night, just people to give people an example. So instead of pasta with our bolognese, like I make a turkey bolognese, we do spaghetti squash pasta, or you can do zucchini pasta. So that's just an example. And then if you want to get into like actual, you know, desserts, it's not that hard to replace ingredients. It's really not. I mean, I've done 400 recipes.
So one of my favorite desserts that you created is called Nutty Butter Cups.
2 ingredients.
And it's basically our Brain and Love bars melted down, put in cups, and
with
then
almond butter.
Almond butter.
And then you pour a little of it over the top and then put them in the fridge, and they're literally like peanut butter cups.
Oh, that sounds great.
Except when I eat a peanut butter cup, haven't had one in years, but you know, I'd have one and then I'd want another one, right? They're not
Satisfying.
satiating.
Mm-hmm.
But the Nutty Butter Cups, I'll have 1 or 2, and I'm just happy as a clam. Actually, clams aren't happy. They're sort of flat. But I'm happy. Happy as a German Shepherd who hasn't seen you in a couple of days. But food, you know, we want you to love food that loves you back. That's really the mission this year, is to help you get your food right, because your brain will be right.
Well, and I think that I think people don't understand if you have the strategy, and I would love, you know, you guys to put your neuroscience spin on this, but I know with the books I've written, what's so interesting is that part of the strategy is that the foods you eat matter. So certain foods actually send signals to the brain that you've eaten, that you're satisfied, that you're full, because they affect leptin and ghrelin and all of this. Other foods, like sugar, actually don't send that signal to the brain. So your belt might be tight, but you still feel hungry because you don't get that signal that you have been satiated, that you are full. So you keep feeling hungry.
Splenda and aspartame do the same thing.
I don't know if they do that, but they don't send the signal, but they also affect your gut flora. So there's all kinds of bad things with those. But I just, you know, if people understand that food really is like, it really is chemistry. It really can change how you feel and how addicted you feel. And it's what you eat is part of breaking the addiction.
Yeah, it so is. And, you know, one of the things I'll often tell people is you have to be mindful of drinking your calories, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you ever had a can of soda, nobody ever gets full from drinking a can of soda.
And it's like 40 grams of sugar.
Yeah, and it's a few hundred calories depending on, you know, what size beverage you have. And that's because there's plenty of research that shows that liquid calories aren't as satiating. No. So our brain in our body doesn't detect liquid in the same way that it does solid foods. That's why it's so important to make sure you're eating the whole fruit and you're, you know, not just juicing it, because make sure you're getting all the nutrition, plus you're getting fiber from it.
So people are asking great questions, and there's also some other shenanigans going on, I can see.
Shenanigans.
But Splenda, sorry, not a fan. There's a question about agave and maple syrup. What do you think, Nicole?
You know, I tell people that the goal is to try to de-sweeten your diet as much as you can. Now, you know, we're all humans. We all want to have something sweet once in a while. So I think swapping in some of these alternative sweeteners can be better than the super.
Yeah, like monk fruit's a really good alternative.
Exactly. And a lot of things like monk fruit, allulose, they're going to affect your blood sugar levels very differently than high fructose corn syrup or sucrose would. But I think that overall, in terms of the addiction side of it, if you're looking to kind of get yourself off of that compulsion to always go for the sweets, a lot of it is about reducing the sweetness and just trying to lower it a bit. That can really make a big difference.
I noticed like when we were like so excited about all this, you know, stevia, because we could add, it's like in the beginning, it's like, oh, we can add as much as we want, because there wasn't a lot of evidence that it was like, but I noticed something. I'm like, you know, doing that makes me crave more sweet stuff. So we made a conscious effort to like really minimize and cut back on how much we use, because it keeps you triggered for that. When's that next sweet thing coming?
Yeah, but I think it is a good tool to have for people who are maybe in the beginning of their journey and starting off, to have these alternative sweeteners can be a great you don't feel like you're totally depriving yourself, because that's what we want to avoid. We want people to have fun and enjoy food. And if you feel like you're deprived, then that's not fun. Nobody wants that.
What's the name of your book? People are asking.
Oh, so my book, Why Diets Fail, Because You're Addicted to Sugar, came out in paperback. And then I have a new book that I'm working on right now that'll be hopefully coming out at the end of this year. It's called Sugarless.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think that there's never too much to say about how bad sugar can be. And I feel like the more we can help people to understand that, the better it's going to be, because then people will be able to make better decisions about what they eat. That's really what it's all about.
Well, and as you and I talked about last time, there's a whole bunch of names for sugar that the food industry is sneaky.
They are.
And when you see organic cane crystals, you think that's healthy, and it's just organic sugar.
Well, but then people got savvy to that. So then there's all sorts of other names they call it too that people aren't as savvy to.
Like juice concentrate. People think juice is good for you, but juice is not good for you.
So you should have a
way
list.
Too much sugar.
And the bottom line is look at the grams of sugar in some. It's like they still have to tally the total as sugar in the total. So at least for now. They have to do that. So we need to, be looking at the total grams of sugar, and that will still help.
So one of the things our team wanted us to talk about was nature. And does getting out in nature increase your happiness? And a lot of research says yes. So not only are you getting vitamin D from the sun, but it's also exercise and looking at images of nature. Tana and I took a walk this morning on the beach.
So pretty.
So pretty, but it just makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm jealous. It's 22 degrees here. So our walks on the beach are quite chilly, but I agree. I think, getting out in nature, just being able to breathe fresh air and just kind of spread out and just feel, all the things around you, it definitely makes me happy. And I think there's so many perks to just being in a different environment. I think nowadays we're kind of all holed up in our houses or home offices or wherever that might be. And I think it's more important than ever to just get out there and stretch yourself, get some movement, and get some of that fresh air and vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a new book, You Happier. It's coming out March 1st. I'm so excited. We have a public television special with it. I bet there'd be a good public television special for Sugarless. I think that would be really well received. Just planting a seed. But, when I think of being happier, I have 7 pillars. And pillar number 4 is love food that loves you back. Mm-hmm. Pillar number 3 is supplement your brain. I mean, this 30-day challenge is brought to you by Brain MD. And, the amount of supplements Tana and I take, I had to create a business just so I could afford all of them. But
I'm sort of not kidding. In
our shake every morning, we use Brain MD's protein powder, which is super clean. I think it has, 3 carbs or something.
2
low. It's all plant-based protein. It tastes amazing. And then we put in Bright Minds powder, which is actually a combination of Neurobite and brain and memory power boost. So my brain just feels like, whoa, lit up. And then we put in smart mushrooms because it helps immunity. Neurogreens.
Not magic mushrooms.
Well, I wanted to call them happy mushrooms.
Yeah, no.
But the team wouldn't let me call them happy mushrooms. And then Neuro-C, given that I had COVID last week, I really ramped up.
Oh, I was taking like 6,000 milligrams a day.
My vitamin C, and Neuro-C just tastes so great.
Yeah.
Right. So check out all the great products we have at Brain MD. Nicole, if you had to give them one more brain boosting tip, what might that be?
Oh, well, I think since we were talking about sugar today for a large part of this. I think one of the things that I would say is a great way to boost your brain is to just think about how if you change what you're eating, it's going to have such a positive impact on your health. And it doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to change everything. It can be just swapping out one meal and making it a sugarless meal. Just like how, one of the things we've been doing this month, because it's Veganuary, which is going vegan in January. We're not a vegan family, but we've been trying to do 2 nights a week where we have vegan meals, completely vegan.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah. And I think it's a great way to just, show that you can make a small change. It doesn't have to be this commitment of a lifetime, but you can make a small change that's going to go and have big impact later on. So same with sugar. Try to just go one meal without sugar and see how that takes you.
There's also a question or a comment on a sad lamp. We at BrainMD make our Bright Minds light therapy lamp. And especially now, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in the middle of winter, that putting on a bright light therapy lamp in the morning can be so helpful. And the one from BrainMD has both white light and blue light. A lot of people get freaked out about blue light's bad. Now, blue light's bad at night because it turns off the production of melatonin, but it's really good for you in the morning. It can be energizing. People, Nicole, are asking about your last name. It's Avena, Avena. Dr. Avena, you can check out her books on Amazon. We should carry them on BrainMD. Yes. So make sure Jim knows to do that. There's another comment about magnificent mushrooms.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Somebody asked a question about ginkgo. The prettiest brains I've ever seen take ginkgo. And ginkgo is in brain, it's in a number of our products, but brain and memory power boost. There's a question about sweet potatoes. What do you think about those, Nicole?
Well, there's a lot of health benefits to sweet potatoes. I think that, if I'm going to eat a potato, it's going to be a sweet potato.
Me too.
So I think that there's a place for them in people's diet, especially, if you're trying to reduce your carbs but not go completely low, then they're a great way to, in addition to getting carbs, you're also getting a lot of nutrients that you're not going to get from other types of starches.
Yeah. Someone commented on skin diet. They want to know, so I love this. We had one guest on one time that was promoting a very similar type of diet, but they said, I can see what you've eaten. And I just thought that was so interesting because, your skin is sort of that outside reflection because people are asking about skin. And so it's so important. It doesn't, yes, it affects your brain, but it also affects because, when you cause inflammation, you're going to cause all sorts of problems. So when people are asking about a skin diet, what you eat doesn't just affect your heart. What affects your heart affects your brain, affects your skin, affects, so it's really important. And hydration. And
Tana, you have beautiful skin. There's a lot of comments about that. So I think our next live is going to have to be where Tana reveals her diet.
I'm actually not, it's not that complicated, but I do think diet matters a lot. I really do.
Well, and as you've been working really hard on your immunity.
Oh, yeah. So a lot of that's going to show through.
That's really good.
C, D, zinc, quercetin, all the anti-inflammatory stuff, trying to keep that inflammation down, omega-3s. Those things matter. What affects inflammation affects, the outside reflection. So, yeah, but definitely diet matters.
Yeah, it does. And it's so great that, you can actually see the glow in your skin and that you're probably glowing on the inside too, if you're putting all these healthy things into your body and it's showing.
Right. It's very helpful. So that's another point to happiness. It's like it shows through.
Yeah.
Another comment on turmeric, which we love. Our supplement Happy Saffron has saffron, but it also has long vita curcumins from turmeric, which is really absorbed well, and zinc. And saffron, curcumins, and zinc all independently have studies showing they can boost your mood.
Well, and that's one thing. So his Christmas present, I'm like, what do you buy him? You can't buy him anything. So it's like he said he wanted more like home cooked meals because we can get pretty busy. So I've been cooking a ton. And one thing that I do is use massive amounts of herbs and spices. Like there's so many herbs and spices in the food because it's medicine. It's like really powerful.
Yeah, I've been really happy this year.
It's a good Christmas present, right?
It's a good Christmas present. MCT oil is also really great. So many great questions. We are going to post this, and then we are going to be back together in just a couple of weeks. When is the next one? On the 25th.
Yes.
The band is going to get back together. They also wanted us to discuss our immunity bundle, given immunity's been important in this house. But of all the people in the house, why is it I'm the only one that
but okay, so let's be very clear. He literally like had sniffle. Like I was really surprised because it was like a cold. So I think part of that is, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to like, because I know some people get really sick from it. It depends on what variant you have. You were not that sick. You worked the whole time. So you were tired, but he wasn't all that sick. But like I was assaulted from every direction with all the kids and people coughing on me. And I'm like, you have to be, I literally braced myself, stayed home, haven't gotten a haircut. Cause I'm like, I know I've got COVID.
Everybody
and I never got
your new hair. Everybody.
Well, thank you. But I just, and I didn't get it. And I think part of that could be possibly that just all the things I do.
Anyways, our immunity bundle, vitamin D, I take 5,000 units a day. Actually, I take 7 because 2,000 are a Neurobite Plus. Omega-3 Power, ProBrain Biotics Max, I love our new probiotic, zinc, smart mushrooms, and Neuro-C.
Yep, and then I take quercetin on top of that.
And I take quercetin too, separate. Yeah. We should have our own. Nicole is now, Dr. Avena is the Chief Science Officer at BrainMD. I couldn't be more excited. We are going to do research and formulate more cool things to help you have a better brain, a better body, and a better life. So I hope you have a great evening, Nicole. We'll look forward to talking to you soon.
So nice to meet you.
All right, we'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.